Oh, hello everyone. I had Looney steal this book from Twilight's library, and I must say it's a pretty good read, but it kinda screws with my understanding of the pony universe. My first big question should be rather self-explanatory. Is this a journal, as the title portrays, or a diary? Hello interwebs, I'm Eric and welcome to The Looney Turtle. This book is both. A journal is, as Google defines, a daily record of news and events of a personal nature. A diary. So that's one question answered. Now let's look for another. Is this book canon? Well, in order to answer that, let's look at why a few other sources might not be considered canon. Let's start with fan fictions. While these stories can supply some interesting ideas for the world and its characters, fan fictions don't have to live up to the My Little Pony brand. The main six could lose to a fearsome foe, go to war, or even die. They don't have to line up perfectly with the show because these stories are your perception of it, and not everything you believe is canon fact. One day, Rarity, one day you will rule the night.
But the comics showcase that, don't they?
Yes, and to be honest, I see the IDW comics as a licensed fan fiction.
But how can that be possible?
The show staff isn't directly involved in the production of them, and the comics have even contradicted canon, much like a fan fiction. I can accept that some people have the mentality of it's canon until proven otherwise, but I personally consider them a fan fiction.
But it's licensed, and Hasbro acknowledges it as a thing.
Double Rainboom got permission from Hasbro. Does that make it canon? There's a pink Celestia toy out there. Is that canon? I believe the same can be applied to these comics. They may answer some of the questions that we have, but they do such in the same way that fan fictions and headcanons do. Now I can go back to the Diary of the Two Sisters. Is it canon?
No.
That was a rhetorical question, Looney.
Oh, sorry.
For me, this book is canon, and that's for two very important details. For one, it's written by Amy Keating Rogers, one of the main writers for the show. I'm sure that she would know something about this universe, especially when she can write an episode confirming anything found inside. In fact, it seems that the writing staff has agreed that it's canon because the episode involving the book wasn't even written by her. Speaking of, my main reason for this book's validity is that the journal was in the show, and some of the pages that Twilight flips to are actually in the book. For example,
Spike, you've got to hear this. I love to duck behind the paintings, and though the Hall of Hooves still gives her a bit of a fright, the trapdoor slide is Luna's favorite.
That was a word-for-word quote from this book. Page 36 to be exact. In addition, those pictures that Twilight flips to can be found in the book. That they're in one of Luna's entries and they're in the wrong order, so I can admit that there's some minor inconsistencies, but I can excuse that as the show has presented inconsistencies in the same fashion.
Did she replace the hinges to her doors? It doesn't make sense.
With that out of the way, let's talk about the book itself. This book starts off right after—
Are you gonna pop up a spoiler warning?
No, can't you see that tag in the corner? Mind you, I'm not gonna do this for every video, but I know for a fact that not everybody has read this book. I may not like spoiler warnings, but I will implement them in a way that doesn't halt my video.
But didn't you just halt the video?
Yes, and since this is the first time I've ever done this, I want to make it clear so that no one can complain. If you don't like spoilers and you hear this sound, you can mute the video until the timer's up, or just leave the video if there isn't a timer. So, this book takes place after Hearthwarming Eve. Screwing with my timeline, but hey, I was pretty close, right? Make another video about equestrian history. The pony representatives establish Equestrian decide that it would be best to have alicorns in charge because alicorns represent all three races. I've never been able to accept this as fact, but it keeps coming up. What makes a unicorn is the fact that they, unlike Earth ponies, have horns, and Pegasi, unlike Earth ponies, have wings. But when you put the two together, they somehow contain a trait from Earth ponies?
Eric, you and I both know that you can spend hours ranting about this point, so move on.
Fine, I'll just save that for another video. Speaking of another video, I think I'm gonna split this into a two-parter because I certainly don't have enough time to edit a longer video this week. Too much Thanksgiving food. So for now, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Oh, also, since my analytics tell me that nobody watches these end cards, let's spice it up a bit, give you something to watch. At the end of these videos, I'm gonna start doing something extra. If you would like me to voice act, to recite a line, then what you'll do in the comments section is write down, first, describe the voice, deep and gruff.
high-pitched and nasally.
Those sort of descriptions for the voice. And then I will keep that in mind and recite whatever line you have underneath it. And, it'll be entertaining, hopefully. If that doesn't work out and you don't want to give me those types of comments, then give me something that I could talk about. Just a quick topic that I could be like, well, this is interesting, but, I might make a video on it. Just something that I could go off of and make this end card a bit more interesting. Note that for these end cards, I will only go off of what was put on the previous video and not 2 videos back. I might, because I always read my comments because I always have the time to, but likely I will only respond to and use comments from the last week's video. With that all out of the way, I'll see you guys later.
Yes. I'll see you later. Have a nice day.